This is the maiden voyage. I even got my Puerto Penasco bandana on like I'm in a real kitchen. But I'm going to show you how to make seafood ciopino today as easy as I possibly can. So first, I'm going to show you all of the ingredients that go into it. I'm already getting a pan hot back here, so I spent probably 20 minutes just getting everything out here. So first, come around here and let's take a look at the ingredients. I like this oregano. It's actually in the Mexican food aisle, ethnic food aisle. It's like whole oregano, and then as you put it in this little thing, you kind of smash it up with your hand. So I would say that's about 2 tablespoons. We're going to eye a lot of this. There's no rules when it comes to this. I got my salt out, pepper, some crushed red pepper. I kept this can, Cento. I love this brand. They don't do it from concentrate, so it's a really natural product. You can see there's actually a lot of water content in there. And so what's important here, I didn't open this one. This is tomato paste. This is 28 ounces of crushed tomatoes. This is tomato paste. If I don't like how thick it is when I do it, I'm actually going to add this paste in here. I got my little squirter of olive oil. I got some finishing lemon. We're going to do a little bread to dip this in. I got about 3 tablespoons of garlic here. I got, 2-3 tablespoons of some fresh parsley. I got about 3 or 4 tablespoons of some shallot. And then I got this wine that my brother Scott got me. It's called the Chupacabra Blanca. It's actually from a vineyard in Arizona. So I did a lot of research on seafood ciopino. Some of them use white wine, some of them use red wine. I'm going to try white wine for this one. Now, my favorite part, seafood. So right here I have 5 huge diver scallops here. And then I got just some clams. That's more for effect. And when they start to open up, it's going to let some of the juice that's in there kind of give it more of a seafood flavor. I got 1 little piece of cod there. It's about a 4-ounce piece of cod. And then I got about, 1/4 to 1/3 pound of shrimp. So the recipes that I've read, they all say that you add the seafood. Back up a little bit, babe. You add the seafood just like into the broth, into the tomato broth. But I actually really like my scallops, especially seared. So I think I'm going to sear the scallops, and I'm going to sear the fish, and then I'll build the broth. And once I build the broth, then I'll put the shrimp and the mussels in there to let it simmer. So before we do anything, we're going to just hit these scallops with a little salt, and the fish with a little salt, and a little of this pepper. I'm liberal when it comes to this. This is something that my wife Danielle hates, is that she's laughing in the other room while she's reading her book right now. She does not like when I'm liberal with the seasoning, but every show that I watch and anything that I read is always, be liberal with the spice. Some of it falls off, some of it just kind of blends into the other food once it gets mixed. So we're going to hit this other side here. So now what I did was I just put a little pan on medium high heat back here. So I'm just going to hit this with a little olive oil here. All right. So if you can move in on this, babe, here, you'll see once it starts moving around in a very fluid fashion like that, it's hot. So that pan right there is hot. So I'm going to start off actually with these scallops because I'm more concerned about the crust that I get on these scallops than I am the crust on the fish. I want the fish to have a little bit of brown to it, but I want the scallops to have actually a good little layer, probably that much layer of a good crust on there, so that when the ciopino has a little texture when you eat it. And that probably goes against the normal ciopino thing, which is more of a stewy kind of soft broth. I do want a little texture in there. So all right, let's start with these scallops. I'm actually going to put I'm going to put a couple gloves on just so that I don't get oil splattered. Used to working in the kitchen, I'm always burning myself. So let's put some gloves on, courtesy of Cisco Foods. Actually, these aren't the Cisco ones, these are a different one. Alright, you ready? So this should sing back to us. So when I say the chorus sings, this is when the chorus should sing. Hear it? So once I get all 5 of these in there, I'm going to quickly grab that handle and just shake it up a little bit to make sure that there's some room in between the pan and the oil. I want the oil to be the conduit to the pan, if that makes sense. So that I'm using all of the oil that's in there. So now I'm going to grab these tongs here and just move them around so that they get some good spacing. Spacing's another thing too. If they get too close to each other, they'll actually start steaming. And I don't want them to start steaming. So what I'm going to do in the meantime is I'm going to get one of these little plates up and I'm going to get a couple paper towels on it. because this is going to be a sear and set aside for the fish and the scallops. So come in closer here, you'll see you're getting nice and brown on the side already. If you can get in there tight, it's getting nice and brown. So you just have to give these a very gentle check. That's nice. All right, so I think it's probably about, move them around every once in a while and make sure that you still have a little oil between them and the pan. If they go directly to the pan, you're going to risk them sticking to the pan. This is just a non-stick pan. I get the one from Sam's Club. They're like $12. It's like every kitchen that you go to, every restaurant that you go to, they have like 50 of these stacked up when you walk by and see them. Very similar type of pan. All right. This looks really good. Just a simple salt and pepper. It's amazing what it can do in there. All right, now let's flip these. Now, try to get as tight as you can on this crust. That's what we're looking for right there. Give them a little pat when you flip them over. The heat's actually making them condense a little bit right now, so give it a little pat down when you turn it over. Nice, nice. Get a little smelt going on in here. Probably actually need one more little hit of olive oil in there because it's getting a little dry. You can tell that it's getting a little dry. If that bubbling starts to really tighten up and the bubbles get faster, it means it's getting a lot less liquid in there. So sorry, I'm reaching across you there. I'm going to just hit this outside just like that, kind of get it reinvigorated with some oil. I'm going to leave that oil in there too and just use that right for the fish. I would say another 30 seconds on these and then we're going to move on. Meanwhile, I'm going to get this pan going right here. So notice the big side on this pan. Since I'm putting 28 ounces of tomatoes in there with some lime and some other ingredients, I want to have a nice high side to these so that I could get a good simmer going. In the meantime, I'm gonna grab the. Let's see if I get lucky. Which one is it? Oh, that's it. Perfect. And the reason why I want to have this ready is because these clams, I got to make sure that they open up. So they're live clams. I got to make sure that they open up. If they don't open up, that means they're dead when you put them in there and you can't eat them. I think they're actually, what I bought today was a little neck clam. And they have them at any good seafood counter is going to have a little neck. Should be like $4 or $5 a pound. These scallops are actually $1 each, about $15 a pound. They're just a little under an ounce each, so they're right around $1 each. But man, they're worth $1. I can tell you that. All right, I think we got a good crust on these right now. So we're gonna move on to the fish. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm looking for. Make sure you get a nice tight picture on that. All right. So then we're gonna re-hit this pan with a little oil, and then when we put this fish in. One of the things I learned from watching cooking shows is when you put this fish, a lot of times people are going to put this fish in, they kind of splat it down like that. Just put that little tail in like that and then lean it away from you. So if it does splat and any oil comes up, it comes here. Alright, so I'm still on this side of the fish, the first side of the fish. And I showed you this pan because I'm actually getting that going on medium heat because the next part of the process is going to be to build the Ciopino sauce that are in here and then add the seafood in. So again, I'm looking for that nice crust. I move that fish around a little bit to make sure it has oil in between the pan and the fish. Nice. So you could start to see here, see how it's starting to flake already right here? That little flaking right there tells me it's cooking a lot faster than I want it to, and it's going to break down in the Ciopino. That's okay. I want it to break down. I don't want it to flake so that it's little tiny pieces, but I do want it to kind of pull apart in the Ciopino so that you do have a little texture of the fish that's in there. So I'm actually going to cut this one off a little short and put it on here. Alright, so let's move that pan aside. So we're done with that. So now we have our scallops, we have our fish, we still have our shrimp and our clams to go. There's my son. Say hello, Tony.
Hi.
He's probably going to take over for Sam since she's going to skate land tonight. Tony can get that YouTube channel. We need a name for our YouTube channel, our cooking YouTube channel. So maybe you can comment on this and tell us what the name should be. I was thinking like Southside Chef or like we're the AZ Sausage Guys, me and my brother-in-law. So, you know, maybe it's the sausage guy, but that's misleading because I'm making seafood. So let's think on that one for a while and figure that out. All right, so now, next step, let's get a little oil in this pan. Now that one's only on medium heat, so that one's not going to go too crazy. Let's use this shallot. Shallot's a lot sweeter than a normal onion, but if you don't have a shallot, white onion, even red onion, yellow onion, there's no right answers. Just don't overpower the dish with onion. So we're going to go right in there with that. A little bit of same when it comes back. I'm actually going to turn the heat up a little bit because I do like those onions to get a little caramelized. So since I got gloves on, I can kind of spread them around. Season everything as it goes in and out. I'm going to take these gloves off and go to another pair here in a minute. Everything gets seasoned when it comes in and when it goes out, basically. So we're just going to hit this with a little salt. And we will hit it with a little pepper. That's actually a bit more pepper than I wanted, but that's okay. Again, there's no real rules when it comes to this. Here's Danielle's dinner with noodles, because she will not eat. I'll actually take a little bit of the red sauce out before I put the seafood in there, and Danielle will eat that. For those that know her, no, she ain't eating nothing with seafood in it. And neither are you, so that's why you're laughing. Alright, what else do we got here that we could put in right now? We could put some red pepper in there right now and give a little aroma to the dish. It'll actually make it a little spicier, which is good for me. Not so much for you. Let's see. Let's kick this heat up. We ain't playing around no more. We could put a little butter in here too, actually. That would get these going a little bit more. Notice how these shallots aren't, it's not a lot, right? But you can actually start to smell it. We got a quick transition from Sam to Tony, my camera people. All right, let's go a little bit more oil in here. Just back up real quick, Tone. Let's go a little bit more oil in here. Get this thing going a little bit. And let's go with a little bit of butter. Where's my butter at? It's over here. I like to keep a butter soft out. Like this one's soft. I just took this one out of the fridge right here. I keep this one out on the counter covered with this guy here. And that's probably like against some type of code or some salmonella or something. But I don't really care about that because I've never gotten sick off of it. And I think my mom used to actually leave butter out all the time. Leave ground beef out, leave meat out, leave whatever out. And I never got sick and I had perfect attendance in school, so I think we're okay. So anyways, I like soft butter. I like cooking with soft butter. I don't like how hard butter breaks down into like it's fat and it's liquid. I like soft butter. So right now we're getting these onions, they're getting a little color on them right now. I lowered the heat, and the reason why I lowered the heat is because I'm going to add the garlic right now. If I were to keep that heat that high, this garlic it would burn quick. So I'm going to put in half of it right now and then see how I feel about adding the rest. Okay. So again, lowering that heat for the garlic. If garlic gets too colored too fast, it tastes really bitter to me, and I see it on a lot of television shows. And come up here, look at me. No, back up a little bit. My mug's not that cute. Like you can't be all up in my dish. I listen a lot when I watch these shows. I listen to what they say, and one of the things that they always say is making sure if you have burnt garlic, it just makes everything in your dish bitter. So I'm like super sensitive. Like right now I'm actually going to remove this from the heat for a second and just stir it up a little bit because I feel like the garlic was going too quick. So I'm just kind of moving this around to make sure that it gets all the heat of the pan. And I kind of like what this, put your nose in there, Tom, while you're filming. Does it smell good?
Yeah.
Yeah. Smell like garlic and onions or what?
Yeah.
Now if the onions get a little crispy and crunchy in there, that's okay as long as they don't stick to the bottom. But that garlic, I just want it to be fragrant and I want it to just kind of wake up a little bit. All right. So now, let's deglaze this. I think again, I'm not going off any recipe. I read a bunch of different recipes and just said it's the basics are the seafood, the garlic, some onion, that dried whole oregano. And so there's no rules when it comes to this. So maybe sometimes you would put the tomato sauce in right now. I'm a big fan of the glazing of the pan. Deglazing of the pan. And so I'm going to use this white wine right here to start to cook some of that alcohol out of the white wine. So you can hear that, actually. That means I'm going to lower that flame a little bit because that wine's going to really start cooking down quick. And that was about a half cup. So for 28 ounces of tomatoes, I put a half cup of that wine in there. And maybe I'll use more wine, which is why I left it out, but that's what I'm going to start with. It's all about how I feel about that sauce. I don't want to be too thin, but I don't want it to be too thick. I want it to be good enough to where when you dip a piece of bread in there, you actually have some consistency that's left on the bread and not just like a very soupy, thin soupy type of deal. So come take a look at this, what this broth is doing now. So now we got garlic, we got shallots, we got a little salt, pepper, some crushed reds. We're kind of cooking this down right now. All right, I'm gonna go grab these tomatoes. Let's go back and grab. All right, I'm just gonna go straight in with these tomatoes. And then I'm going to hit it with this much oregano to start off with. I'll do a lot of things on look. Like to me, that looks like it'll be enough. But I still have a little left over in here, just in case when I do my little sniff test, I think it needs more. So we're going to stir this up a little bit to get it incorporated. Kick the heat up a little bit because I want to kind of bring it to a semi-boil. Always remember, so now I just put in non-seasoned potatoes, right? These crushed potatoes. They don't have any seasoning in them. It's just potatoes. Look at the ingredients here. Vine-ripened tomatoes, tomato puree, salt, and naturally derived citric acid. Another reason why I like these Cento, there's not a lot of BS that are in them. So, but we have to season them. So we're going to hit it with a little salt. We're going to hit it with a little pepper. We're actually going to come back to the crushed reds and hit it with a little more crushed reds. It's going to be a little spicy now because I probably hit that a little harder than I wanted to. But that can't get spicy enough for me. Alright, so look. See this edge here? We're already starting to get a boil, so I know that it's getting incorporated good, so I'm going to lower the heat just a little bit. Now, this is the time that I'm going to add the seafood. And what I'm going to do is, I'm going to add the uncooked seafood first. So I'm going to just kind of bed my shrimp in there. Bed just kind of meaning put them in there, and then once I get them all in there, notice I'm not wearing a glove for this because these are about to get cooked, but I will put a glove on when I'm done. Kind of bed these in there, get them to wake up a little bit. Just going to put these in there. Alright. Alright. I actually want this to be a little thinner than it is right now, and I'm not going to be able to get it thinner. It's going to get thicker, so I'm actually going to hit it with a little more wine, and then I'm going to raise the heat. So that was probably another half cup of wine, so I'm going to be going on a cup of wine right now into this dish. So now I'm just going to kind of bed these shrimp in there, and I'm going to let it start cooking a little bit. Alright, let's hit this with a little parsley too. I'm going to do about maybe half of this parsley right now. Just fragrance, that's all this is. It's not going to give it a lot of flavor. It's just going to bring out a little freshness in it. Alright. And it's a nice color too. I love things with color. We can call this Christmas Ciopino, Tom.
Yeah.
You like Christmas Ciopino as the name? Mm-hmm. What about the name for the YouTube channel? What's the name for the YouTube channel?
Christmas Ciopino.
We're not going to just make Ciopino. We got to make everything. These are like simple meals that people can cook at home. So we got to name it something along those lines. What should we name it?
I have no clue. How do you even do that?
What?
Dude.
All right, look. We need some bread for this. Just a little bit of olive oil. A couple of quick squirts. That's just going to crisp up nice. Let's hit that with a little salt. Just a little bit of salt on that bread. All right. Let's throw this bread in here. It's the oven's at 300 right now. I had it on for probably 5 or 10 minutes. So it's at 300 right now. Since I don't know how much longer this is going to take, I'm actually going to just shut the oven off and let the residual heat up that bread. Now I got a couple bubbles going in here. I'm going to kind of scrape the side because I don't want any of that good stuff to go away. All right. Since I have a pretty rare, medium rare, let's call it, fish and scallops, we're gonna add that to that now. Whether it's the right time or not, I don't know yet. But yeah, it's pretty soft, so it's actually more probably like medium well. I'm just going to bed these scallops in there. And I'm still thinking this is a little thick. So what I might want to do is throw a little stock in there, which I don't have out right now. So what would be a good alternative to adding stock to this? Look, I'm gonna actually take this fish right now. I'm gonna just quarter this fish and let it flake itself in there afterward. So now, okay. All right, so now I think we should just kind of let this bed. And we should let this simmer. I'm going to kick the heat up just a little bit, but I'm going to cover it so that, see, as this steam comes off of there, it's actually reducing down. You can see where this started, and it's kind of boiling again. I'm going to lower that flame a little bit, and I'm going to cover it so that when you cover it, it keeps that steam in there. It'll thin out that sauce a little bit because that condensation will collect on the top. So let's stop it there, and we'll come back in 10 minutes to see the final product. All right, it's been 10 minutes. Let's check it out. Oh yeah, see how that clams open? Clams open, clams open. That's what we're looking for. Alright, so let's give this a quick stir. See, it's still reduced, even with the lid on, it's still reduced. So let's take a look here. Let's give it a little spin. I want to make sure nothing's stuck. I want to make sure it all looks good. It does look good. I mean, you're getting a good close-up on that, Tone. Let's turn the heat off. Let's try it. Just want to try the sauce. I don't want to try the seafood yet. It's pretty good. It's got a little spice to it. Maybe just one pinch of salt. Maybe just one pinch of salt. Just to make sure. You don't want to serve it. You want to serve it so where people don't have to put the salt on when they get it. My wife says the exact opposite of that. Let them salt it themselves. But I don't believe that. So I like to do the salt in it. And alright, let's see how we present this now. Simple presentation. So I got my spoon out, got my pad down. Okay. I forgot to tell you, Ric Flair for President shirt. It's a must-have. Alright, so now, get in there. So now we want to go nice, healthy. Got a couple clams. We got some fish. We got a scallop or two. Shrimp. Okay. This is looking real nice. Oh yeah, one more shrimp on the side. Okay, now, simple finish. A little bit of that parsley. Just a nice little shimmer of olive oil on the top, just like that. A nice, I kind of took the seeds out of this lemon prior, and just a nice hit of lemon right on top. Tuck in two just little pieces of Italian country bread that I put the olive oil and salt on either from before. Just kind of tuck those in on the side, start to get them going. And that is the first video. Seafood Ciopino. Until next time, the end.